To have a wall.
All right, that was the president earlier today blasting our weak immigration laws that have allowed this migrant caravan to become a major crisis. Sara Carter went down to Guatemala this week as an independent investigative reporter, joined the caravan for a few days to find answers as to who these people are, how they got organized, and who sent them towards this country. She obtained exclusive footage, as you see on your screen. And she joins us live tonight from Guatemala, and also with us, former Secret Service agent, NRA TV contributor Dan Bongino. Sara, let's start with you. You apparently ran into people that were part of MS-13, which was reported earlier today. People want to hear this.
Yeah, absolutely. We ran into people that were part of MS-13. It appeared, Sean, that there were other people as well, other gang members from various different groups. There was an enormous amount of men. We were there to greet, basically, the second wave of people crossing from Honduras into Guatemala. I was right on the Honduran border with officials there, spent some time with as well with Guatemalan officials, the head of Guatemalan intelligence, Mario Duarte. I also spent time today with the president of Guatemala, President Jimmy Morales. So this has been a huge issue for the people of Guatemala, for the government of Guatemala. I can tell you what I saw were very few women and children and an enormous amount of men. There were about 1,500 in this second wave. They believe there are about 7,000 in total that crossed through here. Remember, a lot of people began joining the very first wave when they got into Mexico. So there were a lot of coyotes, a lot of drug cartel members that were pushing their own people into the crowds to join these crowds that were moving from Honduras all the way through to Mexico to reach the U.S. border. But the majority of them were men. The women and children were in the front, and it was a very dangerous situation for them because there was a move, a push. Some of them had been trampled. They had them way up to the front of the line. But I could tell you I saw over 1,000 men, many of them highly organized, wearing the same backpacks. A few of them had told me that it was an organized movement, that they had people contact them in their villages, and that's why they were part of this movement going in. They had heard it on the news as well. So this is very important for people to understand. This was not a spontaneous movement. This was a very organized event.
And the vice president, let me get to Dan Bongino, then we'll get back to you, Sara. The vice president is saying today that the Honduran president is saying organized by radicals within that country, but also financed by Venezuela.
Yeah, Sean, the evidence is everywhere. We've seen a Honduran left-wing congressman, I believe the name is Fuentes, who has already come out and made some statements that the left wing in South America is behind this. Again, this is only ignored by the media, but the problem here is the media and their liberal allies, Sean, are doing nothing to buttress the president and back up the president in what should be, Sean, what should be a bipartisan issue. You have close to 10,000 people potentially getting ready in the coming weeks to potentially hit our southern border, not through a port of entry, but to enter illegally. We have no idea who they are, and the Democrats are okay on this. Every responsible Republican should get every Democrat on the record as to where they stand on this.
Listen, I'm just going to assume, Sara, that the vast majority of people are living in poverty. Their government's not working for them. We see waste, fraud, abuse, even the money that we give to a lot of these nations. I'm sure most, 99%, let's say, are good people that want a better life. I understand people's desire to be here, but we have laws. We're a constitutional republic. We have sovereignty. We have borders. And we have a process for people to come in. The idea, by the way, and if we had the wall, Sara, this couldn't happen. But the idea that America would somehow, by defending its borders, if there's any confrontation, it will be caused by other people that don't respect our laws. I don't want any innocent people hurt here, but nobody can vouch for anybody in that group. And if there's 1% that want to bring harm to our country, we owe it to the people here to protect them and not let that happen.
Absolutely, Sean. A couple of points here that are very important right now. The government of Guatemala, President Morales told me today in an interview that he understands how President Trump feels. He understands how the American people feel. He wants a full cooperation with the United States. He will fully cooperate. They want to bring the criminals to justice that organized this event because innocent people are harmed. And these are the people that are being pushed into these caravans and being told lies and being brought up to the United States. But just as you said, there are elements of danger within these caravans. Members of, these migrants, members of MS-13, members of other gangs, they also found within the first wave of the caravans, and even within the second wave, Cubans, people from Congo, people from all over the world that were put into these caravans and from specific places. Nearly about 100 or so they have been rounding up. They have detained them. I have talked with intelligence officials here on the ground. This information is legitimate. Now, as for the ISIS members that I know everybody's talked about over the last few weeks, over the last week, that was information that was obtained from the intelligence services out here in coordination with U.S. intelligence, I've been told, over the last 3 years. So they have found members connected to ISIS and other various terrorist groups here in Central America.
Yeah. And Dan, if they get to the border and charge our border, that's an invasion. That's not a caravan. That would be an invasion.
There's no other way to describe it, Sean. And also, what happens when all the attention's being paid to the caravan? What happens at other points of entry as well, Sean? There's a lot of secondary effects from this as well.
Saying one thing years ago that now they sounded like Trump. Oh, now not one is speaking out. Not one, because they don't care to ever take a stand. They want to hide and see which way the wind blows. That's not leadership. Sarah, thank you for reporting. We'll have a new report from her tomorrow. Dan Bongino, thank you. When we come back, Nancy